Jaya Shriman Narayana. Namaste, everyone. It is absolutely my pleasure to be here with you on this very special day. And what this day is what we call Holy Name Day. This is something that we've done for about 4 or 5 years in a row. So this is an annual event, and this is something that occurs now every year on the exact same date, on December 26th of each year. And first, before we go into the actual meditation that we're going to do today, let me explain what is the purpose of Holy Name Day. There are several purposes, in fact. First of which is that, of course, around this time of year, this is a very special time of year. This is a time when, we just had Thanksgiving a month ago, at least in America, a few other nations. It is a time of the year in which we have Christmas, which indeed was just yesterday, and in which the new year is coming up in a little bit less than a week, about 6 days or so. So it's very much just traditionally a time of transition for the world, for Americans, for Europeans, but really at this point for the entire world. That being the case, I decided again several years ago that it would be very good to do something that would be very auspicious to mark this transition from one year to the next year, from the ending of one year to the beginning of the next year. And what we decided to do is indeed what we now call Holy Name Day. And what we do on Holy Name Day is that all of the followers of Sanatana Dharma throughout the world, and truly throughout the world, in so many multiple nations, on this day will recite the mantra, Om Namo Narayanaya, 108 times. And of course, that's at an absolute minimum. But on this day, for individuals who maybe, they don't recite this mantra every single day, at the very least, on this day, the idea is that we all recite the mantra, but that we do it together. Not meaning at the exact same time necessarily, because, for example, in Europe right now, I know it's 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, so many Europeans are sleeping. But at least on this date, we all say the mantra together. And indeed, there are many people who actually join the live stream and recite the mantra with us. Now, why do we do this? This begs the question. Again, it is something that marks this transition, but more importantly, especially today, we are living in an era in which darkness has descended upon the earth. That happened quite a long time ago. Indeed, we are in the midst of what's called the Kali Yuga. But even within the context of the Kali Yuga, the world has been quite dark for some time, a few hundred years. Well, as people know, I have said this, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada has said this, the Puranas say this, the Vedic scriptures, that indeed we are very much in a time of spiritual transition, where we are about to leave the darkness behind for a little while, and we are about to experience a golden age. And indeed, for those who still doubt this, well, you haven't been looking around you or watching the news, real news, not mainstream news, and you apparently haven't seen what's been happening in the world. Indeed, we are about to enter a golden age, and not in 100 years, not in 50 years, not in 10 years, not in 5 years. We are about to enter a golden age imminently. Well, the reason why we do this Holy Name Day and we recite the names of Sriman Narayana together is to help usher this in, is to indeed dissipate the darkness that is there. Because the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter how dark an entity, a phenomenon is. In the face of the sound, the thunderous sound of the holy name, Harinama, of God, nothing can remain standing that is evil. Nothing. Nothing. This being the case, indeed, this is one of our purposes, is to relieve this world of evil, to annihilate evil using the sacred sound vibration of the holy name. Now, positively, again, we want to bring auspiciousness to this world in such a way that everything becomes better, that the atmosphere itself becomes transcendentalized, and indeed in such a way that we help to usher in this golden age. So this is why we do this every year, as we are doing this year, and we will continue every year from now on. So what do we do? Very simply, we're going to do a proper meditation itself. That means that first, for approximately a minute or so, we're going to first focus on our breath, silent breath concentration, where the idea, as is the case with all meditation, is that you are focusing all, and that means all, 100% of your awareness upon the task at hand. That's meditation. So we're going to focus all of our attention, first of all, on our breath for about a minute. The reason why we do this is to relax. And indeed, when you do this properly, you will feel yourself relaxing. You will feel your shoulders, your back, everything begin to relax. Once we've done that for 1 minute, then we will say the mantra Om Namo Narayanaya 108 times. And to do that, many individuals in the audience have beads. If you do not have beads, don't worry about it. I have my beads. I will be keeping count of the 108 mantras. After that is over, then again, we will have approximately a minute of, again, breath concentration, focusing our awareness on breath. And then at that point, it would be my honor to take some questions from the audience. So hopefully after the meditation is over, people will have some very good philosophical questions. So before we begin, I've done this before, but again, I have to keep in mind some people have been doing mantra meditation in our audience for 20 years. Some don't even know really what mantra meditation is. They've maybe heard the term. So let me just explain. These, first of all, are my beads. And these are tulasi beads. These are the beads I meditate upon daily. And what we do is we hold the beads in the middle and the middle finger and the thumb. We do not touch the beads with the pointer finger at any point. And we simply say a mantra and then go on to the next bead. Say another mantra, go on to the next bead, say another mantra, until we come all the way around. And there are 108 beads in the typical mala. And again, indeed, because we cannot touch the beads with our pointer finger, that's why there are these wonderful bead bags. And they're created specifically and exclusively for doing mantra meditation. And the pointer finger sticks out for that reason, so there's no chance of even mistakenly touching the beads with that finger. So with that, again, we will proceed. I would suggest to everyone that, again, when we do the meditation, give your full awareness, your full concentration and focus exclusively upon the vibration of the mantra, listening, feeling the vibration of the mantra. No other thoughts should enter into your mind. If they do, just very gently, not forcefully, gently, just kind of push them to the side and bring the attention, the awareness back to the mantra. And we will do this 108 times, first beginning with breath concentration. Om Namo Narayanaaya. 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 Om Namo Narayanaya. 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 Jaya Shriman Narayana. May the holy names of Lord Vishnu vanquish all evil and darkness in this world immediately. May goodness rise. May Dharma be victorious in this world immediately. Evam bhavatu. May it be so. And so it shall be. Om Tat Sat. Very good. Thank you, everyone, for joining me for this wonderful meditation session. This is what we do. This is what we do as the central activity sadhana of the International Sanatana Dharma Society. This is what we do as Vaishnavas. This is what we do as yogis, is we meditate upon the names of God. And this was very short. This was just one round. I ask people always to recite as many rounds as they can. For some people that means 4, for some people that means 20, for some people that means even more. But this is meditation. This is the heart of yoga. This is the heart of Sanatana Dharma. This is the heart of all true and authentic spirituality. So if this is your first time meditating with us in this way, I would ask that you please take up this practice. You saw it's rather simple. If you have beads, wonderful. You don't need to have beads. Just somehow try to keep track. Try to do 108 mantras at a sheer minimum. If you do decide to get beads, they're available in many, many places. Try to get tulasi beads, which again are the kind that I use and that all of our devotees of the International Sanatana Dharma Society use. But please take up this meditation, do this daily, and you will see that in time your life will change for the better. So with that, again, I thank you for joining us for the meditation portion. Now I would like to see if there are any questions from the audience. We won't take questions for a very long time, just for a short time. But I thought this would be a very nice opportunity that if people would like to ask any sincere, legitimate, honest questions about Sanatana Dharma, please feel free to do so. And when I see those in the chat, it would be my pleasure to answer them. Very good. Very good. Let me attempt to answer this question. Greetings, Sri Guru. Is it true that reality is a union of consciousness/spirit and matter? And what is a spirit? Thank you, and Jaya Sriman Narayana. And then there's a follow-up, spirit, not Atman, by the way. Very good. All right. This is a difficulty in language. That's what this is. And indeed, I've seen, as someone who I've studied the totality of Western philosophy, it tends to be in Western philosophy, sadly, that they are very confused about what is the nature of that which is of the nature of the person, personal identity, the essence of the person that is beyond materiality. People will consider it different things in accordance with the philosopher you're looking at. Indeed, to the point of silliness, to the point where you have someone like René Descartes, who said, cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. I am a thinking thing, which of course is silly, because we are beyond the intellect, we are beyond thoughts. That's the Vedic understanding, which is infinitely superior and more nuanced than the Western idea. So indeed, there is, and I know this because, again, I've studied this, often a differentiation between, spirit versus soul, etc. And they will mean different things in accordance with the philosophy or the ideology or the philosopher who you're talking to. Well, in order to clear up all of this fog of misunderstanding, we have the Vedic teachings. And indeed, Patanjali goes very deeply into this, as do all of the yoga literature, as do all of the Vedic scriptures. There are 3 primary, that is of importance, aspects of the person, of the individual person. That is that first there is materiality itself. There is the physical body, sthula sharira, it is called in Sanskrita. And that is the physical body, the form that we have. Then deeper than that, there is what is termed sukshma sharira. And what that is what sometimes I've seen, again, it differs from philosopher to philosopher, in the West specifically, in European American philosophy. Some of these people are kind of pointing to this Vedic phenomenon or this phenomenon of reality. Some aren't. Again, some are just very confused. Sometimes they equate what they call spirit with this sukshma sharira, that is with the subtle body, the astral body. Now, the subtle body is still something of the nature of materiality. What is meant in this case by materiality is very simply not consciousness. If it is not consciousness, it is materiality, period. There are only two reals, two realities ultimately. There is that which is consciousness, that is what is called Purusha in Sankhya philosophy, which is a very important aspect of Vedic philosophy. And then there is Prakriti. Prakriti is matter. So those are the only two reals. Anything that is not consciousness is by default materiality. So even this subtle body, the causal body, astral body, again, because Western occultism especially is so vague and confused and they trip over themselves in misunderstanding concepts, they'll call this different things. But basically it is that body which is not physical, but also which is not purely atmic. That is what sometimes people will equate with what is called spirit. And again, some people don't. This is where the confusion comes in. So these are the two material bodies. There's gross material body and subtle material body. Then ultimately there is Atman itself, which is consciousness. Consciousness is not derived from the second. That is from, again, what some people will call spirit, but which is in actuality sukshma sharira. Consciousness is derived exclusively from Atman because Atman is of the nature of pure consciousness. So indeed, this is where the confusion comes in. So this is why, while it is interesting sometimes, interesting in a sometimes voyeuristic sort of way on the part of some people, to look at Western occultic, pseudo-philosophical ideas and to try to line them up, align them with the Vedic understanding, it doesn't always work because indeed these people themselves are very confused. So if in Western philosophy, occultism, etc., these people are in complete disagreement, even when it comes to basic terminology and what is the nature of that terminology, then to try to align that with the Vedic ideas, very, very difficult. And ultimately, uninteresting and unimportant and unhelpful. And this is the reason why. This is the reason why. Imagine, and I'm not going to name languages or anything as to not offend anyone, but we know languages are not all the same. Some are very simplistic, some are extremely sophisticated. Latin, ancient Greek, German is quite sophisticated. Of course, Sanskrit. It is somewhat like this. You have the opportunity to study the most advanced, most sophisticated, most nuanced, most scientific, most philosophical language upon the face of the earth. And instead of taking full advantage of that and benefiting therefrom, instead of studying that, you want to take the most simplistic language on the face of the earth and try to do comparisons. Oh, well, this says this in this language. Oh, what would it mean in Sanskrit? What a sad waste of one's time if an individual's actual goal is to know truth, is to change your life for the better, to stop having a life that's meaningless, and to start to actually experience what you have read about for so long. So you look at the great sages and saints, the real sages and saints, and certainly of Sanatana Dharma, even of Christianity for that matter, and you notice something. They don't waste their time with such things. Their goal in their work is one thing, and that is, how do I know God intimately within me in such a way that my life is so transformed that as I traverse this earth, I become a living blessing upon all who come into my presence, and I serve God in that way perfectly. You notice that all the people that pseudo-intellectuals love to read about, that's what they are. And yet the pseudo-intellectuals don't put two and two together. maybe that's what I should strive for. Instead, again, it's an intellectual game. This is why on YouTube, and I'm sorry to go on about this actually, it's something people need to hear. This is why when you go to YouTube, there are so many individuals who are pseudo-intellectuals and they take themselves so seriously. And they tend to do these worthless comparative analyses. Oh, what does Plato say in comparison to Shankaracharya, in comparison to Lao Tzu? Oh, but then let's bring in Plotinus and Iamblichus and so many different individuals, and let's compare and compare. And they do this for the rest of their lives. And they themselves have no peace. They themselves don't actually do anything. They think that they can think their way to God. Actually, they don't even think that. Their goal is not even to actually experience God in any deep way. Their goal is to think about God. Think about God. And indeed, I've seen such individuals. Such individuals actually have offered to interview me. And I'll kind of look into their material and I'll realize, oh, this is a worthless mental speculator who has a lot of fun thinking, comparing. Oh, look at this person's idea and compare it to this and compare it to that. And, oh, is this one right? I don't know. Let's see what someone else has to say. Oh, this seems right. Oh, but wait, now I read this new philosopher. Now I guess that's right. And they do this until they die. They do this until they die. Hopefully of old age, however they do die. And as far as themselves being able to come to that point of silence and bathing their inner selves in the presence of God in a real way, they don't come to this point. They don't come to this point. What the international Sanatana Dharma is precisely that. If you want to bathe your soul, your inner self, in the presence of God in such a way that internally, as people are looking at you, they see you just sitting there with your eyes closed, but internally, you're crying in bliss, being in the presence of God. This is what we have to offer. This is what Sanatana Dharma has to offer. This is what this path has to offer. So please take that offer. Please take that gift. It's not my gift. I have nothing to offer. It is the gift of Bhagavan Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. It is the gift of the Vedic Shastra. It is the gift of thousands and thousands of sages and saints and yogis and acharyas and gurus and rishis from the past, stretching into a past that goes back so far that it would really upset Darwin to understand that there were advanced yogis communing with God 10 million years ago. Such knowledge would really upset his apple cart. This is what we have to offer. So please take this gift that they are giving you, that the great rishis of the past are giving you. So I hope that answers the question. So with that, let me see if there are any other questions that are here. Give me a moment, please. Very good. Here's a very nice practical question, and it is, Namaste Sri Acharyaji, are there restrictions for chanting on Tulasi? For example, does consuming non-sattvika foods disqualify one from using them? Excellent question, actually. The truth of the matter is, this is why I've said this before, and this is the tradition. On the one hand, we don't tell people that, oh, if you have beads, oh, don't use them. No, the truth of the matter is that practice is something that is of great importance. But actually, the tradition has always been, and this regardless of what modern people and modern movements claiming to be Vedic do, it does not matter. This is the tradition, that it is upon initiation that you receive your japamala. And again, in the Vaishnava tradition, that is tulasi beads. So the idea is that previous to initiation, if you have japa mala, is it all right to use them? Oh, absolutely. That's why I even said, if you have, if you don't have, it's fine. But traditionally, the idea is that it is when you receive initiation that then you are given japa mala by the guru. Now, why am I stating this? It is with the idea that if you are eligible to receive initiation, you are satvic. You are satvic, so it's not a problem. Now, to answer your question in a very pointed sort of way, it is extremely important if a person wishes to be spiritual in a real sense of the word. Not a New Age sense, not a modern sense, a real sense that, as I was talking about, you want to be crying in bliss internally because you're experiencing the presence of God. If that's what you want, and so thus you are sincere and honest, you want to be satvic. There's no excuse for not being. The only way that there's an excuse, semi-excuse, is, let's say you have a job where for some reason you have to be around non-satvic things. And we've had devotees who now are very serious devotees who, when they first came to us, they had such jobs. And what do? You try to get another job. You try to get a job that is satvic, that is at least more satvic. So truthfully, other than something like that, there is no excuse really for not being satvic. What does it mean to be satvic? You see, being satvic is not just a matter of, religious rules and regulations. No, it's not some sort of blind fanaticism like this. What it means to be satvic is you are living your life in every way with quite literally everything that you think, that you say, that you do in every way such that it is of the highest and finest quality. That's it. That's simple. And indeed, Krishna makes this clear throughout the Bhagavad Gita, especially the latter part of the Bhagavad Gita, where he goes very deeply into the gunas. And he explains, of foods, there are three kinds of foods that we can have: sattvika, rajika, or we can have tamasika foods. Choose the sattvic foods. Of sounds that we hear, of everything, literally, that what we see, what we do, the sort of job we have, the sort of lifestyle we have, etc. Choose to live a sattvic life. Now, when we choose to live a sattvic life, what are we choosing to do? We're choosing to live a life as wholesome as possible. And this is, again, what's wonderful about being sattvic, is that it's very practical. It means living a healthy life. It means living a pure life. It means that if you have a choice, go to McDonald's, I'm not going to eat the Big Mac. I'm even just going to eat the French fries, let's say, and hope that they're vegetarian. If it's a matter of going to McDonald's for French fries or cooking your own food at home where the ingredients are organic and you know where they were sourced and you're cooking the foods yourself to make a truly nutritious, delicious meal, that latter part, that is the sattvic path. So if you're going to listen to music, you can listen to gangster rap, you can listen to black metal. In other words, you can listen to music that is demonic. Or you can choose to listen to music which, when you listen to it, you feel elevated, you feel wonderful inside. You feel as if, you are practically communing with the gods. You can listen to kirtan. You can listen to classical music. I've said to people many times, I love classical music. Very often that's the sort of music I would be listening to, or else bhajans, kirtan, etc. So, and I can go on and on for 5 hours with all these examples. With everything we do, we have a choice. And you can do that thing in a sattvic sort of way, which is healthy for you. Healthy for you. You can sit on the couch and just stare at a TV. That's tamasic. You can sit on a couch and be watching sports and be on the edge of your seat. That's rajasic. Or you can choose to get off your couch, go outside to a forested, beautiful area in nature and take a stroll, take a hike, breathing in nature and calming the mind and being at peace. That's sattvic. So you see, in every way, to be sattvic is not some sort of, it's not like halal. It's not like being kosher. God knows. It's not like just blind rules and regulations. No, these are things that we do in such a way that they actually benefit us. We always want to choose the satvic path. So this is why I would suggest. That way, you don't even have to worry. Just be satvic. Be satvic. Little by little, make your life more satvic in such a way that, you will never have to worry about doing anything offensive because you are living a pure and beautiful satvic lifestyle. Very good. I hope that answers the question. Maybe a little bit more in depth than you wanted, but still. I see. Here's another very practical question. Can we give the booklets, and I assume you mean the booklets of the ISDS, I assume that's what you're talking about, specifically Welcome to Sanatana Dharma is a beautiful booklet that we put out. You ask, can we give the booklets to Abrahamist family members who are developing misconceptions about Sanatana Dharma due to ignorance? Oh, absolutely, as long as they won't be offensive with the books. So in other words, as I've said, only you can judge this. Not just you, the person asking the question, but this applies to anyone. Only you can judge how open a person would be to even reading a booklet. So indeed, if you have someone who, they have indeed misconceptions about Sanatana Dharma, and if you have ascertained that they are indeed at least open-minded enough that if you very kindly and humbly say, this is my religion. I'm not trying to convert you. I just would like you to know a little bit more factual information about what it is that I believe and that I do. And if they're open to that, please definitely give them a book. Again, that is the entire purpose of Welcome to Sanatana Dharma, the little booklet that we put out just a short time ago. And again, you are the best judge of that individual. You don't want to force a book upon someone or give a book to someone and you pretty much know that they're just going to kind of go like this and just throw it away because they're that closed-minded. No, then at that point, better to just leave them alone. But if they're open-minded in any way, please, yes, absolutely give them a booklet. Again, this is meant to be something that's educational. And it depends on the individual. If a booklet is all that they need, all that they desire, give them Welcome to Sanatana Dharma. If after reading that, they would like to learn a little bit more, then give them the actual book, Introduction to Sanatana Dharma, which is much bigger. It's like, 6 times the size. And like that, if they are at that point, they really want to go deeply into the philosophy, give them Sanatana Dharma, the eternal natural way. But again, you have to gauge in accordance with the individual. Yeah, but very nice. Thank you for asking that question. Yes, good. Here's a very interesting question, and I will definitely answer this. It's a two-parter. Namaste, Guruji. I had another question about anahata, considering that musical composers such as Beethoven could, quote, hear, unquote, music within themselves. Does this qualify as a kind of vibrationless sound that the word implies, or is this internal music, or is this internal music belonging to a different category? Good question. Technically speaking, it's not anahata. Anahata is of the nature of the purely spiritual. And it's interesting, vibration exists on indeed many different levels. So it cannot simply be understood that what we mean by vibration is simply material vibration in the grossest sense of that term. You remember a little while ago I was talking about the 3 forms of the individual, how there's gross physical body, there's subtle material body, and then there is Atman itself. Well, in the same way, this is true for sound as well. There is gross sound, so literally sound that you would hear with the ear, but indeed then there are such things as internal dialogue. Let me just make this very clear. So if a person, for example, is having an internal dialogue, i.e. they're thinking to themselves in their mind, you're not hearing that sound in any gross sort of way. It's not even penetrating the ear. Indeed, a person can not even be using their ears. They can have, some sort of, something over their ears, covering their ears, earplugs or something like that. And they can still, quote unquote, hear themselves as they're having that internal dialogue. Now, is that internal dialogue of the nature of pure consciousness? Of course not. It's material. That internal dialogue, they could be talking about any sort of nonsense. They could be talking about, oh, that girl over there is really attractive. Oh, I wonder if she's looking at me. I wonder, and like that. That's completely materialistic. But yet, it is not of the nature of gross sound. It's of the nature of internal dialogue. So it's not of the nature of consciousness. So in the same way, this is true also for, yes, internal music. And yes, not just Beethoven, actually. Many composers. This is how music was, quote unquote, revealed to them. Was that they would hear it within. And then they would eventually compose it or somehow make it manifest in a way that others could hear it. But still of the nature of the material. What is meant by anahata is that which is transcendent to any material vibration, however subtle. And indeed, there is vibration even when we are engaging in internal dialogue within the mind, when we are, quote unquote, hearing music within the mind. It is not of the nature of pure consciousness. So I hope that answers the question for you. And with that, it is a few minutes before the hour, and I am going to be ending at 8 o'clock. So we're going to stop with questions and answers for now. But I want to, again, as always, thank you very, very much for being here with us. This is a very important event that we've been doing every year for, again, maybe 4 or 5 years. I forget. I think we started in 2020, actually. So I guess this is the 4th year that we're doing this. And it's something that we know is extremely beneficial for so many people throughout the world. I want to thank you again for being here with us this year for Holy Name Day. And before I leave you, I just want to say this again. It is this time of year. I have no choice but to say this. And that is that the International Sanatana Dharma Society is in the last legs of our 2024 fundraising campaign. We're trying to raise as many donations as we possibly can for what is coming in 2025. And very specifically, the ISDS's part in what is coming. And that part is the purely spiritual part. For that, we need everything. We have a movement, the greatness of which, and which will come in the future, is difficult to even explain. We have a movement in which our goal is to eventually establish tens of thousands of physical temples throughout the world. Our goal is to eventually have hundreds and hundreds of books out. Our goal is to eventually have a movement with multiple tens of millions of members and followers. Our goal is to have this movement be so large that it will rival the existing world religions today. That's our goal. It's not a small goal. And why all those goals? So that we can establish, as I say again and again, and which no one else does because no one else would even understand what it meant. Our goal is to establish a civilization, a full civilization, the likes of which have not existed upon this earth for a very, very long time, but which at one time there were hundreds and hundreds of them. You want to know what kind of civilization? I can give you 1,000 examples. But just for one, just for fun, look at Angkor Wat. That was a Vedic civilization. Before that temple then eventually became Buddhist. Interestingly, the primary deity of the Angkor Wat temple, the largest Vedic temple upon the face of the earth, the primary deity there to this day is still Vishnu. His murti is there and he's worshipped every single day. Our goal is to create truly a civilization upon this earth. And what do we need for that? We need everything. We need billions of dollars. We need hundreds of thousands of volunteers. We need tools that we scarcely can even afford right now. And we can only do this indeed with your help, slowly, incrementally, little by little by little. Our movement has been growing, especially in the last, roughly 10 years or so. It's grown truly exponentially. People like to throw that word around all the time, but it actually has a meaning. Look it up. The ISDS has been growing exponentially every single year. Well, we want it to continue to grow, and for that, we need you to please help in every way that you can. We need you to join our Discord server if you're not on there already. We need you to, once you're on the Discord server, volunteer and help to grow this movement. And indeed, we need your donations. So if you can this year, if and only if you can, please donate generously to the International Sanatana Dharma Society. You just have to follow the link to dharmacentral.com. You'll see the fundraising page that is there. And you can donate $5, you can donate $5 million, you can donate anything in between. But we ask that you please help us in every way to have a war chest of funds such that we can grow again exponentially, and even more so in 2025. So with that, I thank you again for being here. And please join us this coming Sunday for our live stream, Sunday at 2 p.m. Central Time. And with that, everyone, Namaste. Jaya Shriman Narayana. And between now and the next time that we get together, I ask you all to please take very good care of yourselves, truly. Take good care of yourselves in every single way that you can. I say that almost every week, I believe. And that's what I mean. In every way that you can, take care, be careful, protect yourself, grow, do everything that you need to. And indeed, we are still in a time of transition. It's still going to be a time. Does anyone doubt me these days? Maybe if they're in a coma. We're in a time of craziness. We're seeing crazy things in the world. Oh, that's going to continue for a little while. Then at the end, we're going to have a golden age. But in the meantime, between now and when that golden age is so vivid that we can never doubt it, ever, between now and then, please remember these words of Bhagavan Sri Krishna from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 66. And those words are Ma Shuchaha. In every single way. Do not fear. Do not fear. Do not fear. For God is with us always.